Hi, this is Coralla at CorallaFicklin.com. Welcome Network.com. Welcome is WYLCONE.com. And you can come in. We have a network, and there you can see all the different sites that we have available that you can look at, and then you can decide, where you want to go. Do you want to look at the iStudy cards or the iStudy guides? Do you want to look at minimum pairs at minimumpairs.com, or idiomatic synonyms at idiomatic synonyms.com, so you can decide. So we're going to continue with Spanish, and we're going to continue with looking at how do you say that in English, different phrases and expressions in Spanish, and how do you say those phrases and expressions in English. Okay. Tener don de gentes, which means in which means in English, to have a way with people. To have a way with people. And when you have a way with people, you're able to charm them. Right? And people just think you're the most fantastic person in the world. You're charming, or you're charismatic. Tener el don de mando. And mandar is not to send, it means to command, to demand, okay? So let me just get back what I just said. Tener el don de mando means to be a born leader, okay? And I think we all know people like that. En dos por tres, in a flash, in a jiffy, or you can say in a blink of an eye. Echar. Now, echar is just a verb, and it means to throw, but echarse a, because I love to see taking a verb and then see how it changes when you put a different preposition with that verb, or when you put a preposition with that verb, or you make the verb reflexive. And a lot of times when you make a verb reflexive, no big change, okay? For example, well, comerse, there is a change there. Irse, okay? Excuse me. I just missed that, all right? Echarse a, to burst out. Echar a perder. It's funny because I can remember when I learned this expression. Certain expressions you can remember, especially if you're living in a foreign country, and you can remember the person who taught you the expression. But echar a perder, I remember the person looking at something, and they said it to me, and I had no idea what they were talking about, because I had never heard, because I had just been in Mexico maybe a couple months, and I had no idea what echar a perder meant, because when I went to Mexico I didn't speak Spanish at all. Alright, and so I mean like zero, like buenos dias was like what? Excuse me. Alright, okay, so echar a perder means to spoil. Echar chispas, which is to be hopping mad, or more slang, to be pissed, or to be boiling angry, boiling mad, or or to be boiling hot, right? Or you can say my blood is boiling. That means you are pissed to all high hell, which is slang, well, going towards vulgar. Echar todo a rodar. Okay, so we're looking at echar todo a rodar, to spoil everything. Echarse atrás, to back out, echarse atrás. And you hear that, I remember hearing that when they were talking about a car, echarse atrás. Okay, echarse hacia atrás, to lean back. Okay, so it's not that much of a difference. But then you're talking about a person to lean back, because a car can't lean back. Okay, echarse en la cama, to lie down on the bed. And I heard echar a lot. Once you become familiar, once you hear a word and someone makes you conscious of it, especially if you live in that country, then you say, oh my God, that verb has a lot of different meanings depending on whether it's reflexive versus not, whether what preposition goes after it. Echarse encima, to take on, to take someone on. Echárselas de, to boast of being, to boast or to brag of being something or someone. Sin, because we're going to change a little bit here, sin ejemplo, without parallel, without precedent or unparalleled. You know, you've never seen it before. Unique. Quitarse el embozo, to drop one's mask, to show one's hand. So if I show my hand, that means I'm no longer hiding. Okay. In English, you say that you have an ace. You know the card, the A. I don't play cards, so I think it's the ace card. The ace. You have an ace up your sleeve, and and that comes from gambling. There's a lot of expressions from gambling. And when you don't show your hand, you have your cards, and you don't show your hand, so the person can't see you, can't see your cards. Well, when they say, don't show your hand, that means don't let someone know what you're thinking or what you're planning, all right? But to show your hand is to let it be known what you're thinking or what you're planning. Abrirse paso a empellones, a empujones. So abrirse paso a empellones or empujones, to push one's way through, to push one's way through. Entrar a empellones, to push one's way in. Now, I don't expect anyone to imitate my Spanish pronunciation or particular American accent, which is very strong. But these expressions, especially if you're a Spanish speaker and you hear the expression and you say, okay, well, we know she's not a Spanish speaker, but these are expressions that are very common in Spanish, and you might want to know, well, how do you say that in English? Not how do you say it in the standard form, but is there an expression like that in English? And for someone who is a Spanish speaker, an English speaker, you don't want to imitate my accent or my particular pronunciation. But what you want to do is say, well, what does that mean in Spanish? What does that mean? Or you know the expression in English, and how do you say that in English? In Spanish. Okay. Empeñar, to pledge or pawn. Okay. I heard it more for to pawn something. Empeñarse en, to insist on or to persist. So you can see, especially for an English speaker, because this part is kind of hard for us, you can see that it's very important that if the verb is reflexive and there's a preposition that goes after that, that you study that also and don't say, oh, well, it just has a say behind it, and all you do is like, me como, te comes, A lot of times it means something very, very different. Boy versus me boy means something. Sometimes the difference is a nuance, but there's a difference. Okay. Tener empeño en, to be eager to be eager to do something. Dar por bien empleado, to consider well worth the trouble. Dar por bien empleado, to be considered well worth the trouble. And let me give you one more. Okay, let me give you one more. That is just a regular verb. Encargar, to trust. Entrust, I'm sorry. Encargarse de, to take charge of. Alright. El encargo, job or commission. Por encargo, to or on order. All right. So, once again, I'm out of time. So, I only have time to say this is Corella at CorellaFickling.com.